I don't want her. Or I want her to be a good leader, that she has leadership quality, because I work late hours outside the house and I want someone who is very good in keeping the family under control. When they come from school, that she will find it suitable to say, okay, now you go and wash, make wudu, go and pray, then come and eat, then go and start your homework, and this and that, instead of a mother who is watching her television programs, and they go and watch their own television programs, and she doesn't talk to them. And then the father comes and says, oh, he sleep. Did he do his homework? Oops, if I am such a person, I will not accept to marry a woman who does not really consider it a priority in her life to lead a family. So lima laha, for the particular attributes she is known to possess. You may look for that. And for her beauty, and for her lineage, and for her deen. And then finally Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says, فَظْفَرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ. If you cannot find, if you looked, but you could not find all four attributes, then look for the last one, which is deen. This is the best guarantee you may get. Deen. Now look, in the beginning I said it's the two, which is deen and akhlaq, expanded. Because لِمَا لَهَا وَلِنَسَبِهَا, okay, these two form the morality of any person. So it is khuluq and it is deen. But jamal, beauty, is not talked about in the case of the man. So it is the same criteria, so to speak, for men and for women. But we expanded, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught us how to expand them. However now, as for the man, the same for the woman, you may look for other secondary things before you will say, okay, now we found that these things are met. Now we have to get to know each other, and then there will be the period of khitbah. And this is where confusion goes big time. And I say it mostly, ma'alish, even though they're going to be upset with me, mostly among Arabs. Now among Arabs now, there is that misunderstanding about something that was introduced to the process that they call the Fatiha. It never used to exist as being something which is part of the marriage. So now they say, Naqra al-Fatiha, and then, why do you want to read the Fatiha? So that they can go out together alone. I say that with confidence, so that they can go out on their own. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Who said that? Who said that? Oh, everybody is doing this. Okay, even in khutbah, can they go alone on their own? No, they can't. There are certain restrictions, limitations. Islam organizes this so much that when marriage takes place on solid foundation, then the family that will ensue from this relationship is a solid family. Is a family that we can say will be the building block of our community. We will talk about that, inshallah, some other time in the future. But now, I just want to finish at the criteria. The criteria, so that we will know what to look for and how. And once we find it, and then we say, yes, we will consider you. What happens next? What happens next? What shall we do? We found the person, somebody knocked at my door, and I say, okay, he comes, speaks with me, so okay, I will let you know. I will go first of all and ask about the religiosity, deen and akhlaq of that person. I'll ask so many people who know that person. And this is the first stage. Then, when the khutbah happens, And we will get to know that person more. We will test that person in real situations, life situations. We will do this. We may discover that all that we heard was sweet talk. By the way, wallahi, it is a big, heavy responsibility on a person who is asked about someone who does not speak the truth and nothing but the truth. If somebody comes and asks me about someone I know very well, I have to say everything as I know it. Some people say, I don't want to really spoil it for him. You know, if you say that, it's shahadat zur. Shahadat zur, which is a shahada that is a false testimony that Rasulullah ﷺ warned us against. إِيَّاكُمْ وَشَهَادَةُ الزُّورِ. He was, you know, leaning on his shoulder, sitting comfortably, and he was talking to his companions. He said, beware of the false testimony. Beware of the false. And he was so serious. He sat and he said, beware of the false testimony. It is nothing to take lightly. So if somebody comes and asks me about someone I know, okay, you know, they came and asked Ali bin Abi Talib about his son Al-Kassem. His son, he said, إِنَّهُ رَجُلٌ مِزْوَاجٌ. Be careful. If you want to get your daughter married to him, he's a person who likes to be married to many women. His father, he said, I'm going to tell you the truth. So we have to really tell it as is. Okay, we'll open the floor for questions, inshallah, to expand upon it. No, okay, yeah. Now this is one situation that is not at all considered backbiting. No, I don't know if I mentioned it in a khutbah. No, or maybe, was it a khutbah or a lecture?
It was on a Sunday lecture.
A Sunday lecture at the Islamic Center, that one is allowed to lie, to tell a lie in 3 situations. You can lie, okay? But this is not the, you know, I'm saying about the person coming and asking you about someone who wants to be married to somebody. You've got to say it, and it is not backbiting at all. Yes?
I have 2 questions because of that.
Sure.
The first one is, what's ma'ruf for the gender roles? Like,
yes.
Like gender roles overseas and gender roles here. And the second question was, earlier you talked about how like the parents make a good bond with the daughter from birth to
yes.
uprising, whatever.
Yes.
Then they usually end up being good hands. But what about in a lot of situations when the parents do everything they can and the daughter still ends up doing her own will?
Yes. Okay. Very good questions. The first question is about gender roles. Now we are going to speak about that in detail when we talk about husband-wife relationship and what each one is expected to do. But it doesn't really hurt to say briefly that, you know, in a nutshell, the husband by law and by divine command is supposed to earn the living for the family. الرجال قوامون على النساء. He cannot say, see, this is something that it is Islamically alien and unacceptable to have paternity leave. It is unacceptable. This is very specific. In Islam, there's no such thing as paternity leave. In Islam, you know, the father, yes, is required to bond with that baby and to help with the baby, and does not say, oh, but this is not in my character to change the diaper. Because one, in a way of analogy, can say Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to mend his own clothes and fix his own shoes and prepare his own food, and that is by analogy. So with the duties that brought themselves in present day life, we say that as long as now the wife is watching her television program, say, you know, Muhammad, go and change the diapers to the baby. You know, I will say to Muhammad, if you do it, you're not a good man. Don't do that. And to the sisters, don't be upset with me. Now to the sisters I say, if you are really busy, let's say you are doing something for the family and you cannot leave it, then Muhammad cannot continue to snore on the couch and say, this is not my business, it's not my job. When you finish, you go and change the diaper. This is wrong. If he does say that, he is not a good father. But now gender roles is that we say we are helping each other as long as we know that. You see, in Arabic there is a saying that my grandmother used to say. I never used to understand it, but now I do. She used to say, الرجل جنة والمرأة بنة, which means that the man makes the living and the woman builds the family inside the house. So he goes, brings the resources and the means, and she is the one to build the family. And I have to say, you know, even though in Arabic we say Rabb al-Usra, okay, that he is, they translate it as the boss of the family, which is absolutely wrong. You know, there are certain things in the family that when my children come to me, I say, this is not my department. This is not my department. You go and you ask your mother about it. And there are certain things when they go to their mother, she says, this is not for me, you go and ask your father. Not because, it is defined. It is defined. And children will learn by example, but not division of labor on the basis of convenience. But on the basis of, and some sisters got upset with me, but I keep repeating it and I mean it, I believe in it, and I say it all the time. That the reason we are suffering in this society, not only the Western society, but now it's all over the world, is that the woman insisted on leaving the house and going and working outside while the children were raised at a daycare center. This is, I say it and I repeat it, and I firmly believe in this, that if we will allocate parenting to someone who is paid and doesn't care about your child, if the child is really having diarrhea and needs to be changed every 15 minutes, she will not do it. If the baby has diaper rash or is crying or is that, we know stories about babies who were made to suffocate because the worker at the daycare center got annoyed while the mother was earning barely enough. We know in Ontario, until now, there's discrepancy between what men make and what women make for the same job. We know that. And we know that there are women who leave the house and go and work outside because they say, we don't want to vegetate at home. And now the result is children come home, they are raised by television. They're raised by television. They come home, well, she comes home at 6 o'clock. The father may come at the same time, or the father may come, you know, at 7 or whatever. If she comes at 6 and they are home at 3:45, 2.5 hours, they are being raised by television. And if that is the case, and now they are being raised by the internet. And this is even more dangerous. And what is happening? What is happening?